In this video, I will show you how to put together this 3D Martini glass, which is an SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. Here's a finished version, but not quite. I didn't glue in the inside and I changed some of the tabs inside, but to give you an idea what size it is, this is it. So you could put some small treats and maybe a gift card in the top. I did many versions to try to get more support for the bottom. So with this, just so you know, can't hold like a whole lot. What I do is I have a support in here, which we're going to put together here, that will help it on the bottom, so if to push down, but it'll still go from side to side because of the weakness right here. I did have a solution that would have helped strengthen this, but I just felt like it was too hard for the majority of people that might want to craft this. So to make it easier, so if you have other solutions, I tried about 4 different options, and I felt like what I came up with is what I just wouldn't recommend a whole lot of weight in here. As it stands right now, if I put the glue bottle in, you can see it kind of went a little bit to the left and right. So that's really the strength of it. And this is out of American Crafts textured cardstock. So we're going to start with the hidden support. So this is something that'll go in here. So this is what we're going to make first. So I just like to put it together so it's all ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and fold it. So there's all these little tabs here. I pre-fold it, and these end tabs right here. These 2 little pieces. So this doesn't have to be pretty, it's just structural. So you can see it folds all the way down like this. So I pre-folded it. So you want to do that so you have it all ready to go. And then I'm using Barely Art glue. So there's glue that I've been using lately. And all you're going to do is go ahead and glue these under each edge. Like that. So you want to line it up, this edge up to the score line. And I remember as I was putting this together, so this is one of a project as of 2025. I was pulling out projects that I started maybe 2 to 5 years ago that had just never finished. This is one of them. I had designed this, not fully, but I started designing it, and I thought I'm just going to pull out some old stuff just randomly, just because I thought it would be fun and a challenge. And the challenge was making it a usable box. So obviously I don't have a lid on it, but to make it usable, so you can see I'm just keep on checking using my finger to make sure that score line is lined up to the edge of this. But half the challenge when you're talking like a really skinny stem is trying to figure out how you can get paper. So I did try doing, somebody could put like a long hexagonal shape in there. Anyways, I've tried all that. It didn't make much difference. So this at least will keep it from the stem from just squishing down when you have weight in there. It won't stop the side to side, but squishing down. But I thought it would be fun party decoration where you could put just a couple little things in there, or you could put somebody's name, or it could be for for a birthday, it could be for, I suppose, a wedding. It's a martini. So, but this martini, I decided not to go all out. You could go ahead and add like other, fruits and stuff, but I just used a lemon slice on this one. So you can see this kind of goes together quickly. You don't have to be extremely precise because it's only going to go on the inside. So it's not like anybody's going to see it. So if you get glue all over, that's fine too. I just say by general practice, it's a good thing to practice on so you don't get glue everywhere. And then these last 2 tabs. Push this little one in here. So I'm just going to go underneath here, slide it under. Get that long one. I'm just going to make sure it lines up at these little scores right here. So this gives it time to sit and dry before we put it into the actual stem. Right here, let's get this little tab right there. So I'm sure there's other ways to support it. It's just a matter if you're feeling creative, give it a try after about making 5 or 6 of these and tearing them apart and seeing if it makes a difference. I ended up going with this solution. So I'm just going to add glue to one of these tabs to anchor this on. And before we close it, we'll add one of those little ones. I'm just going to line that up like that. Give it a moment to dry, and it wasn't lined up right. Again, it doesn't have to be that precise for this because you won't even see it. I'm just going to add glue to these inside little tabs like that. And then we'll just place one of them in here, and do your best to line up the edges with the, you can't really see it. There we go. I'm trying to get the edges to line up. Again, you won't really see them that much, so it doesn't really matter. Just get it down there. And you can see the edges a little bit better. We just want the edges of the octagon to line up on the top. Then you can apply pressure. Then we're just going to go ahead and close this by placing glue on all the edges here. And then you're going to want to fold over like that. And just gently rub it. We didn't want to push the tabs too far in so they can adhere. I'm going to push them in, and it really doesn't really matter how. Again, this is just a support for that stem. If I didn't include it, it would completely collapse. Oops. Of course, there we go. So you have to get this together. We just go ahead and put it aside. And then we'll work on the stem portion. So now we have the stem piece. So we're going to go ahead and fold it. So I do think that it's easier to use this with the perforated dashed lines, cut lines for the score lines rather than score tool or like for the Cricut. It just makes it easier to fold. And use the table as a tool to help you fold it. Then we can go ahead and we're not going to fold those quite yet. We'll just fold this over the tab. So find the tab. And we're going to go ahead and just fold this other piece over with any even polygon, 3D polygon. You can always fold it over flat like this. It's the same shape. Sometimes with angles it doesn't work as well, but this is okay. So it makes it much easier. And then you'd probably want to pre-fold these down. We're going to fold them in and then fold it back a little bit to train them, because eventually they will be glued to this will be glued to the top. And then this will glue to the bottom, the base of it, the stem. So we'll put that aside just for a minute, and then let's go ahead and get the base pieces. So we want that's the top of the base. I've got something on my thing there. These are the two that go on the bottom, and then this on the edge. So these are all the base pieces right there. You want to get those. So we'll do this top piece first. Put these up here. I have some dry glue on the desk. I'm going to go ahead and fold these. And I pre-folded some of them. Some of them I just, for time's sake, I do some of them usually. And then this one, just going to add glue on the side tab here. You're going to glue it underneath right here. So just like we did with that real small support piece, we're going to line this up to the folded score line there. And then if you want to run your finger over there, you can kind of see how you just want to try to line it up best you can with it. It's easy. This is an easy one to do. Like that. So now this is already pre-folded. So you want to just go ahead and fold it. So you'll notice that there's this, the top is, there's one that's rounded and one that's got more of a sharp corners, the tabs. The rounded ones are the ones we're going to glue underneath here, like that. Okay. So you want to fold them all, get them nice and crisp, so it makes it easier for you to line them up. And what I found is easiest with this, because I want to glue it onto this. It's kind of flimsy, but it's okay. We're just going to start with one of the middle two right there. So we'll just start with this one. And we're going to start underneath. It doesn't really necessarily, we don't really care like where it starts, but if you want to be precise with lining this up with this, you could do that. You could count them over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could do that. It doesn't matter really though. It's going to glue the same. So I'm going to line this up. The biggest thing here is to line this up, the very first piece. So I'm going to line this edge up to that fold. Make sure that you're using the rounded tab to do this. So remember, rounded and the one with corners. Okay? So that's why I rounded it. And get it lined up so these match up with these little fold lines right here. These two score lines. And the more precise you are, the more precise it's going to be. So if you're off just a little bit, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it could at the end. So I'm just going to do these two. So continue wrapping around for these two. Again, you see how I kind of run my thumb over the edge as I'm trying to line it up. I want to make sure it's not like sticking above that edge. And then coming down here like that. And then I'm going to do the other side. And you could do as many as you feel comfortable with at a time. It's just a matter of how fast you are and versus how fast your glue dries. I think it's a personal thing. So I'm doing 2 right now because I'm not always the best or fastest crafter. Come to terms with that. Then we'll go ahead and get this last one. So now we'll continue on the other side, get those last ones glued. And then fold this in and glue underneath on the edge here. So I'm not going to speed it up because it's, see, I make decisions on whether I should speed it up, so you don't have to hear me talk, but I'm going to torture you unless you want to just fast forward through me. After years of doing this, I'm not as sensitive to the feedback I get anymore. You'd be amazed what people send me, or sometimes feedback. So this one's a little tight because of the tab, but if you needed to, you could always trim the tab a little bit if it was causing you some pain, so you can always trim that way. We're going to make it work. I shouldn't hit that, but I think I made the tabs just slightly too big. They're overlapping a bit. using the final file. You won't see that. I'm just going to make sure that I fix that real quick. So just make sure you focus on the rounded ones versus the ones with sharp corners, because I can fix that before. It's the beauty of doing a video before you release a product. So now we'll take this stem and glue it on the inside of this. So just like that, you want to kind of slide it in so these edges match up, so these sides line up to the octagonal sides down here, like that. And what we want to make sure when we do this is that when I fold these backwards, this tab backwards, so I put glue right on the outside of it, and then I'm going to fold it backwards to attach, that this little inside edge of this top piece lines up to the tab fold, and it's lining up to the section too. So you can see we don't want this fold to be right in the middle of this. And then when you get the first one down, I find it handy just to do the one across from it. So you want to like push it in gently. You don't need a lot of glue for this. I'm just going to take that one, fold it back again, and making sure that this edge lines up to the inside tab fold. And then we're just going to add glue to all the rest of them and just continue making sure that that top edge lines up to the tab folds. Those first two kind of anchor it, making it easier for you to do these final ones. And this is why cutting the score line with the dash score line is easier than, it has a crisper fold than solid score lines. I do like solid score lines. I just don't think some of the machines have mastered it. So that's why I don't suggest it. But because you can't really tell when you look at it too much unless you really look closely that there's dashed score lines. So now we're going to go ahead and glue this bottom edge piece, and it's textured, so I'm going to glue it the non-textured side on the inside like that. And the reason I'm doing this is just give it a little bit easier, to make it easier to put that bottom piece on. It's one extra piece that sometimes makes it a little bit more accurate. Because when you put pieces on the inside of a tab like this on the bottom, it just helps to strengthen it. So I'm just going to line that up like that. So I'm lining this edge up to that little tab fold there, making sure that I got it there. I'm going to fold these back a little bit so I can fold it back in. Fold it inside like that. And then with this, I would just say do the one across. You're not going to see these tabs. We're going to put that last final panel over it with the support inside of it. But this way, with this cutout, I can reach underneath. And as I'm pushing this edge, so these edges go into the tab fold, I'm holding it. So I did the wrong one, by the way. There we go. It's like, why isn't that not gluing? So in this one, I might say just go two over and do one there and do the other one, the center ones, and then the other sides. So we'll finish this off, adding these tabs. So I'll probably never do I can't say never, I probably will never do another 3D glass with a stem like this. Unless it's super large and you have a lot of support, it's hard to support. And I like to make almost every design that I make, I want it to be able to hold something. So I had glued all four of those. I'm just going to quickly go around. If it bows like that, it should still be okay as long as you fold it. It's not going to cause any major issues. It just makes it easier to put on that last panel piece like that. So we're going to put that. So I'm just going to go over that one more time. That's being obstinate there. If it buckles on here, like right here, it's kind of buckling. You can always cut it a little bit, and it'll give way a little bit. It just gives it a little, takes a little pressure, and doesn't stops. It's like curving a little bit. Again, that's just structural, so it doesn't really matter. So now we have that. Oh, no, I'm not right underneath the camera, so let me get this support piece. And there's a little cutout line right here. There's cutouts around here, and I'm going to show you with, I'm going to get a pencil. I'm going to do the non-textured side because that's where we're going to glue it to. So right there, there's 4 cutouts. I think people call them tabs sometimes, but anyways, I call them kind of like cheat cut lines. And we're going to go ahead and just place this. It just helps us to center this. So I'm trying to get it as aligned as possible to that little hole. So just go ahead and, you know, this is optional, the support's optional. Again, I'm just going to tell you that. Just going to put a little glue here. So if you choose not to use it, just be aware it might be flimsy, or just add another support structure within it. I just want to have something for you to start with if that's the case. So I just lined it up within those little 4 cheater lines. And then once this is dry, so I'm just applying pressure by kind of holding out the sides. If you push in the middle, it does collapse a little bit, but it's stronger than this is by itself. So then we're just going to go ahead and just glue that on like that. Add a little glue underneath there. It's coming up. Try to make it easier to glue this top part. So we're just going to add glue to this edge. You might want to have a little damp cloth nearby so you can get any excess glue that comes out the edge, because you don't want to get a lot of glue on the sides or tops. And I have a bit of a clog in here, so I'm just going to see if I can get it out. So once we have the glue on there, we can go ahead and line this up. You can do it this way or upside down, whichever way. You want to make sure it lines up. And just rub around the edges to get it. I'm kind of pushing in the middle too, because I don't want that to cause it from not gluing. It's a little bit off, but not too much. Trying not to squish this either. So that's the key. So going around applying pressure. So once you get it set in place, you just want to go ahead and rub it against the table. To get it nice and secure. Okay, now you want this piece, this red piece, not this one with the tabs right here. That's from the inside. So you want this piece, and then you want to take this white piece, and then this is going to go on the inside with the tabs like that. So this will go around. If you're going to start at the very beginning, the very first one, but you can. Just be really careful that you go around the edges accurately. And what I mean by that is making sure this is all pre-folded, making sure this has got a nice sharp fold, because if you're a little bit off at the end, it's not going to fit quite right. So we're going to do it like the very beginning. The other option is to count how many you have over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just the reason I do that is just to make sure that if you have a little bit off, you have a little bit off on both sides, not just one side. So we'll just do that. I'd rather not start at the end because I know what can happen. So start at this side, count over 1, 2, 3, 4. So same thing here, starting for the tab side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start with that one. So make sure you're on the 4th. Oops, I got stuck. Don't need that. So starting with this tab right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the one we're going to use. If you're like me, I'm kind of a bit of OCD, so I have to count it multiple times to make sure I'm going the right ones. So this is similar to when we put the white edge, the edge on the base. So I'm going to line up this first one. So I'm carefully lining up this edge to line up to the fold line. Make sure there's no, looks like I got a little bit of pencil. Hopefully it's a pencil mark. So it's going to glue like that. So when you put the inside insert, it's going to hide those tabs. So now we're going to go off to either side. So we'll start with this. So we have 3 to do on this side. Just flip it over. I'm just going to add glue to 2 of them, making sure that you don't want to get any glue on the outside here on the red, so kind of push it in just in case. Or you can do one at a time too. So I got a little bit of glue on the outside here. Not much. Let's get my little wet paper towel, make sure it gets off my fingertips. Continue around the edge. I think it's just easier to fold it inward and add the glue. So get to the edge here. So we're going to continue around the other side, the same thing. So I'm not going to make you watch me, but it's the same action to glue all these in the inside, and then we'll glue these 2 together. So just be careful when you are gluing to make sure there's no glue where it could be visible on the outside. And on the inside edge too, where the white is. So we're just going to go ahead and close this up. You can see I line this up. And because it's red, you can just line it up to the edge here. Just have a little damp paper towel and then glue it on the inside right there. So that'll start with the top. So make sure it's all good and secure before you attach the stem. So we're going to go ahead and attach the stem now. So similar to what we did with the base, we're just going to slide this in, making sure that these sides correspond with the sides up there. So let me squish these all in because it's go ahead and glue one tab, so we're just going to put glue on that and line it up to one of these edges. So we're going to line this up, and I'm holding this, trying to make sure I don't get glue on the outside. Holding that tab until it dries. And I had a little glue on my hands. So there it is. So you're going to make sure that this glues on the inside edge here. And I have a little glue on my fingertips, so let me get that off. I'm going to carefully reach in here and select the one across from it. I'm going to hold on to it so it doesn't come apart here. This is the awkward part. Once we get it anchored in place, all will be better. Because I'm getting the one across from that. Just going to reach in carefully, push it down, making sure this edge lines up to the tab fold. Then hold it in place like that. Then we can go ahead and do the 3 on one side and then the other 3. We'll start with the middle part. Again, making sure that I adjust to make sure that this edge right here is lined up with the inside tab fold, so you're not seeing the score lines at all. And just make sure you do periodic checks to make sure you have no glue on your fingertips, which the ones on the inside I do have glue on because I'm touching things. So if I switch hands, it would be an issue for me. So if you need to stop and wash your hands off, that's always a good idea too. See, I'm kind of pushing it in to make sure. And there you go. Within the file, there's also optional panels if you want that or this size if you want to emboss them. You can. I'm just the same size of each of these. So there'll be 8 of these panels. So if you wanted to add an embossing pattern or something like that. Sometimes I just add those little extras because it doesn't take me but a minute. Now we have it like this. We're going to put a little support piece in there. So I'm just going to fold. This is kind of a crude way of doing it, but I'm going to do this. So we're going to take this piece like this, and we're going to alternately fold it on the score line. So you could start outside like that, alternate, alternate, alternate. So we're just going to stick this in the stem for a little bit of support up there, but the weak point is really at the base of the stem, right here. Okay, but this is just a little bit more support at the top. So we're going to take that little folded piece like that, just slide it in. Just kind of gives it a little solid part to it. Now we're going to go ahead and take these 2 pieces. So you want to fold these with a valley fold so the textured side will show in. So I fold it like that. That's a non-textured side. And we're just going to go ahead and glue this together like that. Let me get that out of my light here. So this will cover the tabs in the inside. So just line that up. You can see inside that it lines up just with folding here. We're going to fold these inside like that. So if it's easier, you want to fold back first and then you can fold in. Like that. We'll go ahead and add glue on the inside. Line this up. So make sure this lines up. Oh, didn't want to do that. Got a little glue on my fingertips here. And this is really just to finish the inside of it. Like that. So we're going to go ahead and place this in there like that, and then it'll hide all those tabs. So I'm just going to add glue at the top here, the top edges, on the outside. I don't think you need to go all the way down, but if you want to put a little bit down here, you can. I wouldn't use a lot. Looks like I have a tab coming up here. So be careful when you put it in so you don't get glue where it doesn't need to be. Oops. And get it lined up in the sections it needs to be. You want to push it down as much as possible so these line up well. You see it's a little bit off for me, but so make sure you push that down. Not really hard because you don't want to collapse this, but you can see as I go around it, starting to attach to it better. Like that. So that's just for the inside. So you want to keep on working on it. If something just kind of pulls out a little bit, like this side did, but you can see there might be a slight edge, like right there I have one, but it's not really that noticeable. And we're going to put this top edge on. So we're going to go ahead and take this, just add glue to one of the tabs. I'm going to put it sideways on its side. Making sure the textured side is up. Just going to attach this to this one tab. And then line it up. Just making sure that it's lined up as close as possible. And I'm gluing that tab underneath. So this will cover all those tabs. The nice thing is we can reach in underneath, and so you can do them all at once if you wanted to, glue them all at once, but I'd say probably just like half of them. So I'm just going to add glue to maybe the other three, because we already had one, so that makes half of them with 4. Just go around as you go around. If you don't get that first one lined up, that's going to affect you. Making sure you don't get glue on the top finger, so my thumb. So get it nice and snug there on the edges, around here. So again, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about how long it takes you to do things. I'm a little bit, obviously I'm doing a video, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful, so I don't have to recut everything. You wouldn't either, so do it at your pace. Like I said, even if I'm too slow for you, you forward. If I'm too fast, then you just pause the video. But this is just going around the edge. So we're going to finish gluing this on, and then we'll put the optional lemon together. And if you could have also put those optional panels on the back if you wanted to. So. So I finished putting this edge on, so you just want to make sure that you continue to go around and apply pressure as you are gluing it. So let's go ahead and glue the lemon together. So I decided not to make this completely like 100% 3D. So this is optional, obviously, if you don't want to use it. So there's going to be two different shapes. So they're, just to give it a 3D effect, we have two of these and two of those going the opposite way. So we're going to glue two of them together. So two of the same shape together, I should say. And then the other two shapes. So some may not want to use this, so there's always an option. So we're going to glue those together. Okay, so then we have these. Make sure they're texture side up, or at least they're going to be opposites of each other. So if they line up, and when you have them on top of each other, you have one flipped upside down. So they're going to go like this. So if I try to put this over here, it's not going to be in, it's going to overlap right there. So we know that's for the other side, like that. So you want to put light glue. So I'm going to go get some tweezers. I'll just hold this and add light glue. And you could do like really, this is where the fine tip applicator comes in, or you could just put it on with your fingertips like that. Just want to make sure that you don't get any glue anywhere where it doesn't need to be. So I'm going to start there, just angle it. These little white lines will go right to the edge of that opening. And this should also like that. So we're going to do the other side. Let's see if I can do this one a little bit more eloquently. So you want to be light on the glue because you don't want it coming through. So for this, I typically don't say, you could use a brush, but I'm just going to those really thin pieces, brush with my fingertips, and then see, I have the excess glue there. Don't want that. I'm just washing my fingers off with wiping it off. Just going to start right here. It should end about right there, so So we go ahead, and now it's back to back. We'll go like that. So I'm just going to press down on those to make sure those are glued okay. So I'm just going to add glue to one while it's upside down, and then flip the other one and glue it on top of it. So it gives you a thickness, almost like a three-dimensional feel with all the layers on there. There's more a layered lemon, not a 3D lemon. It gives you the illusion of 3D, which is what all those 3D things you see being made these days. They're not really 3D, they're three-dimensional, I would say. Layered, three-dimensional. So right here, you want the long part on the outside. So to add that, I'm just going to go sideways. Just going to lightly attach it like that. And that will finish off our little martini. And to give you a little bit insight of how much it holds, here's some chocolate candies that I'll place in here. You can see it holds it just fine, like that. So you could put a little bit more, but you just don't want to put too much, so it'll start bowing on the right, left, whatever, around the little edges here. So again, one final look. Here is the finished martini glass, which is kind of a little martini glass box. I hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you so much for watching.